So what Olympus has done tonight to show off the capabilities of the E3 is they brought in 5 world-class photographers that have worked with the E3 for the last, I guess, about 3 weeks now in each of their different disciplines. And we're going to talk with some of them and see what their impressions are and what it is about the E3 that suits it to their particular type of work. Let's go inside and take a look. We're here now with Jay Kinghorn. Jay's an incredible outdoor photographer. He's apparently more often seen climbing an ice face than he is in a studio anyplace. And since we don't have any ice faces here in New York, we're making do with, as you can see in the background, some ice carvers. But Jay, in your photography, what about the E3 has been key for your work?
The biggest thing that I've noticed has been how fast the autofocus is. When I first took it out of the box and started shooting with it, it was tracking really well in low light and difficult situations where I kind of expected it to hunt and maybe have to go into manual focus, but it just found it.
So it seemed a lot quicker and more certain than what you've been accustomed to.
A lot quicker.
Okay, that's great. Any other parts about the camera? What's your experience shooting with it so far?
I've fallen in love with the image quality. I mean, the Olympus glass, the Zuiko lenses are just superlative. And as I was telling another gentleman that was here, the combination of the sensor and the glass is just magic.
That's great. Yeah, we're doing some tests on the Zuiko lenses, and I always kind of take the manufacturer's claims with a little bit of a grain of salt. Yeah. The Zuikos, I'm going to get my tongue tied around that. The Zuikos are pretty incredible. We're noticing a significant difference in a lot of our tests. Well, it's interesting to hear that repeated from a pro that's been using it. Well, great. Thanks very much, Jay.
Thank you.
So I'm here with Maki Kawakita. Maki's a fashion and portrait photographer that mixes a traditional kabuki-style formalism with a very edgy modern feel. And Maki, you've used the E3 a little bit in your work now. What can you tell me about it, and what do you like about it? What suits it to your type of work?
Okay, I first of all use this camera all the time now because it fits with my style all the way. I do a lot of fashion photography and a lot of movement like dancers and the celebrity portraits. When I do dancers and movement, I need a fast camera and sharper focus. This one has them all.
So the fast AF that they brought to the E3 has really helped a lot.
Right, and also the angle I always get, as I talk about my work as Kabuki Pop, I'm always looking for different angles. And for the viewfinder, I can always go on to the...
Right, and so you really use the live view a lot in your work?
I do.
Yeah, we saw you earlier working with the dancers. We'll cut in some of the video of it where you're like over your head and down low, and you don't have to crawl around on the floor anymore.
Exactly. Oh, it was so painful before, and now it's not. It's great.
Great. Well, I guess that's it from Maki Kawakita. Thanks very much, Maki. Well, I'm here with John Isaac now. John's got an interesting guy. He's got an amazing life story. He's spent 30 years as an official UN photographer, going to all sorts of trouble spots around the world and different diplomatic functions. Once that became a little bit too much, he's kind of retired now into a life of nature and portrait photography, I guess. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
And so you've been using the E3 for about a couple of weeks now, I guess?
Now about 15 days I've been using it.
So for the sort of work that you do, what are the salient characteristics of the camera? What stands out about it?
I think from the beginning when I started working with Olympus, my biggest impression was their glass. They have one of the best lenses, and they're continuing to do it, and they're the first ones who came up with the digital lenses, specific lenses. And with this new camera, it's 10 megapixel, and they have a new live MOS chip, which has very little noise. And I shot a lot of stuff in Tokyo just last week in the fish market early morning at 4:30, and they were pretty impressive. And the speed, I think the processor does a much better job, and it processes very fast. I shot like 25 frames non-stop, and it still was writing, and I never stopped. Yeah, so that was very impressive.
Wow. So you've been with Olympus for a while, and you've really noticed the difference with their glass, their optics for a while now.
Yeah, and I've been with them for the last 10 years now, and so the last pro camera they had was E1,
Right.
which was about 4 years ago, and we've been waiting for this, and I'm very happy that, you know,
Yeah.
and
It
it's
says
all I expected.
twice the resolution and a
Yes,
vastly improved autofocus system.
Yes, and also the new lenses that they're coming out with, you know, and they already have one 12 to 60, which is the ultrasonic drive that, you know, which is really fast. You can actually see the difference, and it's got 11-point focusing points, which is.
So you really notice the difference in the speed a lot with your work.
Before it was 3, but normally I used only 1 for a long time,
Right,
you know.
yeah.
But then when you're doing bird photography, you really need better focusing.
Oh, so with the bird, you don't have time to focus and then reframe the shot.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And the other thing, one of the things that I, as a bird photographer now, this is what I'm doing more. They have a lens that's it's 90 to 250, which equates like 180 to 500
Yeah,
f2.8 all the way.
F2.8 and
yeah,
500.
so that's fantastic. When the bird comes closer, you don't have to change from a big lens to another lens.
Yeah,
it works as a good long zoom lens. You know.
And it's really sharp across.
Very
that.
sharp. Most of the pictures I shoot almost wide open, and you have that picture of that puffin. I shot with that 90 to 250 wide open. You know, I think it was either 2.8 or 3.5. You know.
Wow. What focal length was that at? Was that at the long end?
I think it was at the longest. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's an impressive shot. We'll get
Yeah.
a shot of that for the B-roll. Well, that's great. Well, thanks very much, John. Appreciate taking the time to
thank
talk
you.
to us. Great to
Yeah.
meet you. Take care. Well, there you have it. 5 different pro photographers, 5 different takes on the E3. Stay tuned. As soon as we get a production unit in the lab, you'll get our take on it too.